Emmy, and this is House of Chatter, and this is Life of Emmy while I wait for my phone to charge and get back to it. But I kind of wanted to come here and share my Bumblebee experience and maybe an epiphany I'm having. So everybody knows the saying that, you'll always remember how somebody made you feel, right? And that's kind of important in this context of online dating because I'm starting to realize that I have to be a big girl and be like, okay, maybe that doesn't sound respectful. And I think I'm getting to that point because I originally think it's all me and I'm crazy and that maybe I'm just reading things wrong. But I think we're getting to a point where, let's call him Manhattan, the lawyer, the fancy rich lawyer who went from New York to government, well, California to government, whatever. Big shot, been on Fox News, might have some relations to people and files, big shit. Big hot shot doesn't want his identity publicly known, kind of so to speak, like he hid it from me and I found it anyways. But how does he make me feel? Because he is still not ghosting, I guess, but just leaves messages undelivered or not read. Takes his time to answer, which is totally fine. But how does he make me feel in relation to, let's say, others? And I'm kind of noticing a pattern about how I'm feeling. So when I met this guy, and I think maybe part of it might be my impression of him too. But my impression, I'm sorry, that's my dog playing with my cat. My impression was quite negative. I think it might still be negative, so maybe it might be my fault too. But in the beginning, he was flirty. I was honest. I said I was a train wreck. That's how I started off. I'm a train wreck, blah, blah, blah. He wanted to know all the red flags, and we went through like all of them because why not get all of this crazy crap out of the way from like, what are my triggers? What do we want? All this other stuff. He went into how skiing is like horrible locally, and the best skiing that you can find is in the Alps. Well, when the heck am I ever going to go to the Alps? I'm never going to go to the Alps. And then he went into the story how he got like a better deal on the ski trip at the Alps, and everybody else had to pay more, but he didn't get to go on the Barcelona trip. And I'm like, that's cool. I know nothing about Barcelona. I know nothing about Alps. And it kind of felt like a brag. And then he was like, well, if you play your cards right, you could come with me or travel or whatever. And, I don't think I want to play my cards right anymore. I'm pretty sure he looks at me as someone with no intelligence. Just based off of one of the continuing clarifying statements he likes to make. So I was taught he text messaged me about the Blake Lively lawsuit, and he's like, "Oh, this is your case," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's my case. I don't think the contract writer's valid, but it's all gonna come with that, basically." And I said writer as the trucking company instead of as writer as like the way that you're supposed to write it. And he clarified, and then I was like, I messaged back, spank me, like fine, spank me, whatever. I got it wrong again. And then he said a really like out of their statement. He said I would, but 50-50 chance you would get pregnant, which I'm like, okay, this is like the umpteenth time he's mentioned that. But whatever. And I mean, that's not the first clarifying statement he had to make at me. He sent me like a picture of like a hockey scoreboard, and I was like, oh, I didn't know it was still hockey season. I thought hockey had ended. What the fluff do I know? I know nothing about sports. And I was like, oh, I thought hockey season had ended. And then he had to give me some remark, and I was like, "Oh, nice dad joke," and he was like, "Oh, it wasn't a dad joke," and I was like, "Well, fine." So now, when I get these messages, I just look at them and I'm like, "Am I the idiot?" Because I'm gonna be the idiot when I respond. Like I'm prepared for the put down now, and that's a really crappy feeling. And I've never been disrespectful, and I don't feel like I've ever been offensive to him. Um, you know, and it just kind of sucks that I'm in this position because I don't like the way he makes me feel, and it's like this ongoing thing. And I haven't gone on a date with him. This is all talking, and so far, I've had a whole lot better conversations and more respectful conversations with other people on this Bumblebee app. I mean, I have maybe like 15 to 20 active conversations going on, which is impossible to keep up. So some people are on red, some people are on delivered, some people are like on high. Um, it's just, I don't know how anybody keeps up with this Bumblebee app. It is absolutely nutty. And then there's like every day there's like new matches or people that they show you. So like if you don't like swipe left and get rid of them, it like piles up. So like I don't know, I haven't done it in a few days, but it's like 300 new swipeys I have to look through. But all of the majority of those conversations have been respectful. They haven't been rude. They haven't like put me down. They haven't like challenged my intelligence or anything like that, or made me feel like I'm less than a person. I mean, to be clear, I've had two people who come out right and say, "Hey, would you like a consensual physical relationship, like no dating, right? Monogamous." And I'm like, "No, I'm not really into that," which is totally fine. And they accepted the rejection and they moved on with their lives or whatever. Um, and then the rest of it is like, "Hey, how are you?" And they're kind of trying to figure out who I am and all that stuff. But nobody has made me feel quite negative like Manhattan. Iowa's pretty sweet. I had a date. I called him Iowa because his town reminds me of Iowa. I had a date with Iowa. He was really respectful. I mean, he even like who checks in after like a first kiss to make sure that was okay. Like I've never had that. And he checked in on me every day when I said that my tummy hurt because I had chicken that was like prepackaged and it had, I'm pretty sure it had MSG, but it set off my fibromyalgia really bad where I couldn't hold down food and I was super sick and in a lot of pain. And I was telling him during the week before our date that I had to go on a fasting. And so he was checking in every day, like, "How are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you keeping up with your diet?" General things. Um, and, you know, for dinner, he knew that I might have to, how do I pose this to YouTube to make it understandable? Let's just say medicate with an herb so that I can eat and keep food down. He's very understanding of that. He brought me some, which is kind of nice. But yeah, Manhattan, man, he's kind of I don't know what to do. Should I tell him that I feel like he's treating me like talking to me in a negative way? But should I really be bothered by the way that he speaks to me? I mean, like, would you say something, or would you just kind of continue to feel like, hey, if I say something, it's gonna be like another blonde moment. He's gonna put me down. He's gonna make me feel like dumber than a box of rocks. I know I have a lot of blonde moments. You guys know that. I'll probably never be able to escape them. But I'm also really smart. And I think I have a good heart, and my only mission in life is to make people feel better and to like meet people halfway. So it's really disappointing when someone is like, I don't know, his nickname for me is Barbie. So is he treating me like Barbie? Kind of feel like Elwood's here. And I don't know. I've always looked up to this guy. He had an amazing career, Ivy League schools. I'd love to know how he, you know, his experiences in government. I would definitely love to know why he doesn't feel like an accomplished lawyer or had an accomplished career. I mean, I'm pushing a Honda and this guy is in a freaking penthouse with like no mortgage and used to be a corporate lawyer and runs a foundation and gives his own money away. I mean, this person probably has more money than God. And even though he's got more money than God, it sounds just like nothing is ever good enough for him. Oh, skiing in the West Coast is way worse than skiing in the Alps. The tulips of the West Coast, they're nothing compared to Holland. You know what I mean? And I'm like, when am I ever going to go out there? Probably never. When am I going to be able to afford a ticket to Barcelona or to Amsterdam or to the Alps? And when the hell am I ever going to ski? I'm probably never going to do that. And maybe lifestyle has a lot to do with like dating, but like maybe I'm just not good enough for his lifestyle either. Or maybe I'm just not good enough anyways, and I should just cut that cord. I don't know what it is, but Manhattan, man, you seem really not satisfied with life, and that's kind of sad. You have the world at your fingertips. You retired early, you took care of your obligations, but now you're complaining about not skiing. I mean, now you're complaining about the hockey game. Now you're complaining about things that are halfway around the world that are your luxuries and you can go to any time. But yet you're sitting here on the phone reminding me how much less I have. Oh, I don't know, maybe I'm just like reading into it. But yeah, I'm just kind of tired of feeling the way that I'm feeling by Manhattan. I'm also really bewildered by how many times he has brought up this fertility of mine. Um, it's kind of making me a little paranoid. Um, Especially after he said that there's a secret society. But I said, is there a secret society? Like, I mean, with the files and all this worldwide stuff going on. And, of course, we had to answer. And that's creepy. He said yes, but everybody thinks that there's some sort of thing running things. So maybe that's not unusual. But, man, you might get cut as much as you compared yourself and thought, made yourself seem so much better than everybody else. He made himself seem, and yes, I had to go through my husbands and talk about their career. And hey, first husband was a welder, worked for 1-800 Radiator, rebuilt like these old car radiators, semi trucks, everything. Was so great that his parents basically gave him the family business to run. But that wasn't good enough in his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, I'm already doing better." No, hotshot lawyer. Uh, second husband, respiratory therapist. Compared himself, Manhattan compared himself to a respiratory therapist, and career-wise, that was awesome. I don't know. At this point, at my life, I'd rather have a respiratory therapist in a good career than a corporate lawyer. Um, but Manhattan, you sound so great on paper, but yeah. Oh, another thing, I do have to mention this. I did think he was close-minded in the beginning. He had a lot of negative stories, so he started off with the negative nurse story, which I thought was horrible, and I'm sorry for his experience, but kind of got me thinking. Um, and then he asked me, because I'm a female Marine, or was, he was like, "Oh, are all the female Marines like, are most of them gay? And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Some of them they all look bush or whatever. And I'm like, no, dude, like, no. I was highly offended. And I'm like, maybe two people that I served with were gay. The rest of us, we just wanted to support the mission and you know, left and right and back home. So maybe I thought of things on the negative side, and maybe I projected that, but I think I've been pretty fair. I just don't like the way that he makes me feel. And I really love the way that Iowa makes me feel. And I think when you have daughters, the way that you treat others um, is a lot about that. Because Manhattan doesn't have any kids. But Iowa, he's got two daughters. And so I think a lot of the respect comes from that. But also, if you're a human being, you should respect people anyways and their boundaries. And don't put people down. You know, I don't have to be mansplained about hockey. You can say it to me nice. And I tried to put things in a comical way. I'm freaking blonde. I can't chew gum and walk out at the same time. I don't think I have that ability. But Manhattan makes me feel like the clueless Barbie doll. And I'm not a clueless Barbie doll. I just have Jessica Simpson brain maybe 50% of the time. Okay, let's just say 75% of the time. But I'm still super smart and I don't deserve to be treated like Barbie. Hey guys! And we will be doing, according to Gail, we will be doing a live on Wednesday. So happy to see you, Gal. Good to see that you're better. At least I hope you're better, because if you're not, I might kick your booty. So yeah, everybody just be kind to each other. And who cares if we have blonde moments or Jessica Simpson moments? They can be cute. And I have to especially shout out Asshole Media for telling me my blonde moments should be, what did he say? She said it the best way. My blonde moments should be seen as cute and not criticized, right? It should be appreciated and not disrespected. I think that's the nanny. I gotta go because I gotta get back to work. Love you guys. Might see you guys later. Might not. I have a whole bunch of Blake Lively content to work on as well, and I have a whole bunch of hospice patients who are trying to go home. So might be a little bit busy this week, but I'm trying not to be. You know how Iowa goes. I might actually schedule something for this weekend. I guess it's a really good sunset spot, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, Iowa checked in every day during my fast and my sickness. Manhattan probably couldn't even. Well, Manhattan did send me a comedy thing, and then it just went all downhill after that. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see how each person treats me. But Manhattan, man, I don't think I'd date you at this point for $1 million. I mean, I would talk to you, but because what the hell are you gonna do if I say something stupid at dinner? You're just gonna make me cry. Anyways, love you guys. Bye.